Today, we delve into one of the most mysterious and eerie places thought to be haunted in the world, and one of the most iconic, interesting, and spooky places in America, the Winchester Mystery House. So make sure you blow out the candles, keep your pets close, and write off any creaks you hear as just the wind, as we begin to uncover the secrets and history of the Winchester Mystery House. The life of Sarah Lockwood Winchester. Sarah Winchester, otherwise known as Sally after her grandmother, was born in 1839 in New Haven, Connecticut. In 1862, at 23 years old, she was married to William Wirt Winchester. In 1866, Sarah Winchester gave birth to a daughter, who she named Annie Pardee Winchester, although unfortunately she was diagnosed with marasmus, a deficiency of all macronutrients, carbohydrates, fats, and protein, and only lived for a month. In 1880, she lost her father-in-law, Oliver Fisher Winchester, and her husband, William Winchester, and in 1881, she lost her mother. In 1884, her older sister died. The grief Sarah experienced after 5 deaths affected her greatly. In Victorian times, widows were expected to wear mourning clothes for a minimum of 2 years, one in full mourning, wearing dark clothes, and one in half mourning, reintroducing shades of deep purple and grey in the wardrobe. Sarah amassed great wealth after the death of her husband, William Wirt Winchester, and her mother-in-law, Jane Ellen Hope. Sarah's inheritance included $20 million, equivalent to $561 million today, as well as a 50% holding in the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, which made her one of the wealthiest women in the world at the time. In 1884, Sarah started to develop rheumatoid arthritis, and her doctor recommended that her health would benefit from living in a warmer climate, and that being in a warmer place would relieve some of the pain she felt from the conditions she suffered. Sarah then moved from New Haven, Connecticut to California. The Winchester Mystery House. In 1886, Sarah purchased a 45-acre ranch for sale that was located near San Jose, California, which included a 2-story, 8-room farmhouse, and she named her new home Lalanda Villa. It is said that she met with a medium or fortune teller at around this time by the name of Adam Coons, and that she was told that her new house was haunted by the spirits who met their fates at the barrels of the Winchester rifles, and that she would need to continue building in order to avoid their ghostly wrath, and that if she was to ever stop building, if the hammers were to ever cease, or if she ever completed the house, she would die, and that the spirits were responsible for her daughter and her husband's deaths. Sarah and her husband William, during his life, developed a fascination with architecture while building another home in Prospect Hill in New Haven, and with plans to expand the farmhouse, hired at least 2 architects, but subsequently dismissed them, instead deciding to do the planning herself. In those times, it was unusual for a woman to do that kind of planning herself, and she was later seen to be a great architectural pioneer of her time. She was known to abandon and rebuild parts of the construction that did not meet her expectations, which resulted in a maze-like design, often with dead ends, trapdoors, and doors that did not lead anywhere. The layout of the house was planned in this manner to confuse the spirits which were haunting her. In the San Jose News of 1897, it was reported that a 7-story tower was torn down and rebuilt a total of 16 times, as it had failed to meet her expectations. Up to 5 stories were added to different parts of the home. The house was extravagant. There was carved wood on the ballroom walls and ceilings. Woods such as teak, maple, and mahogany were used to make intricate patterns on the ballroom floor. The ceilings had moldings, stencils, and faux finishes. Each room was adorned with worldly beauty. There were German chandeliers, Austrian art glass, Asian furnishings, and French paintings. An early form of intercom, called an annunciator, was installed for calling servants. An indoor garden was built with slanted floors. The floors would carry excess water to trapdoors that had pipes which would direct the water to the outdoor flowers. A generator was installed to provide electricity around the house and to a water pump. Because of Sarah's height of 4 feet and 10 inches and her underlying health issues, a stairway that has 44 steps that only rises 10 feet was built. The bell tower was used as a fire alarm and to summon servants to the house. Many believe that it was used to conduct seances and to summon spirits that Sarah would communicate with, often on a nightly basis, and that they would communicate what building she should do the next day in order to fulfill her ghostly contract. The Blue Room was located in the center of the house and also thought to be of great relevance when it came to her communicating with the spirits. It is said Sarah would host ghostly parties for the spirits, with lavish dishes served on golden plates, and that ghostly music was often heard emanating from the house in the middle of the night. Some claim Sarah would never sleep in the same room 2 nights in a row. After 1900, as her health issues grew worse, which included arthritis, missing teeth, and neuritis, a condition that arises from an optic nerve being damaged due to swelling, leading to temporary vision loss and pain in the affected eye, she became more private and reclusive, leading to rumors of her superstitions and bringing her mysterious nature to light. According to law, Sarah was apparently fascinated with the number 13. Architectural features such as 13 bedrooms, 13 bathrooms, and 13 windows in certain rooms were built. Beginning around the time of 1895, Sarah started appearing in newspapers. The belief that Sarah built her house in its strange, maze-like manner to confuse and keep spirits from harming her sanity was brought into question. In March of 1895, an article by the San Jose Daily News titled, "Strange Story, a Woman Who Thinks She'll Die When Her House is Built," was written. At its largest, the house had approximately 500 rooms. When the 1906 earthquake struck, the house was severely damaged. After the earthquake, she spent much of her time at her home in Atherton, San Mateo County, in California. The 7-story tower and most of the chimneys collapsed. One entire wing was destroyed, along with the 3rd and 4th story additions. Sarah had the rubble removed, but had little more done to the property after the earthquake. It left doors that opened to nothing, where balconies had once been, pipes protruding from what were once window boxes, and staircases that once led to upper floors ended suddenly. Sarah died of heart failure in her bedroom at Lalanda Villa on September 5, 1922. A service was held in Palo Alto, California, and her remains lay at Alta Mesa Cemetery until they were exhumed, along with those of her sister, and brought to New Haven, Connecticut. She was laid to rest next to her husband and her infant child in Evergreen Cemetery. She left a will written in 13 sections, which she signed 13 times. The belongings in the Winchester Mystery House were left to her niece, Marion Marriott, who auctioned off almost everything. When Sarah died in 1922, the house had 160 rooms, 2,000 doors, 10,000 windows, 47 stairways, 47 fireplaces, 13 bathrooms, and 6 kitchens. Following her death, the home was auctioned by her niece to the highest bidder. 9 months after Sarah Winchester's death in 1922, the house was still in a state of disrepair due to the 1906 earthquake, and considered to be of little to no monetary value, accumulating dust and debris before a group of investors purchased the property, who then further leased it to John and Mamie Brown, who turned it into an attraction. They later purchased the house in 1931. There were many room additions and deletions made to the home after Sarah's death. In 1924, Harry Houdini briefly visited the house and was reportedly impressed by its unusual layout and architectural novelties. According to some accounts, Houdini suggested the Winchester Mystery House as a promotional name for the property. Harry Houdini was a skeptic and often did investigations to disprove supernatural claims, but could not do so because of pre-existing obligations. When Keith Kittle, a past Disneyland and Frontier Village employee, became the general manager in 1973, the house was in poor shape. He had the house renovated in the 1970s and 1980s and added a Winchester rifle museum. He sought historical landmark status and began an advertising campaign that included large billboards along the highways. The billboards feature a silhouetted house with implications that a ghost encounter was possible. Attendance increased as he played off of the history and superstition that was already circulating. Kittle was general manager until 1996. Visitors and tour guides claim to have experienced cold spots, footsteps, cooking smells, odd sounds, whispering, doors and windows slamming, odd and unexplained feelings of being watched, claustrophobia, and fear. The idea spread that the house is one of the most haunted houses in the United States, or even the world. Other rumors spread that there were over 1,000 ghosts residing in the home. Guests have reported seeing shadowy figures lurking within the house. Others have claimed to have witnessed Sarah Winchester's ghost themselves.